Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of January 8th, 2024. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And put on your coolest suit and strap into your BMW because we're talking about this week about the 2002 classic, The Transporter, because there's a new Jason Statham movie out this week, The Beekeeper, which we're recording this, neither has seen this yet, but it's getting pretty good reviews and it looks pretty like a fun Jason Statham movie where you're just like going around like killing like spammers or something, like internet phishing people, run by Jeremy Irons. But back in 2002, he was Frank Martin, the Transporter, which I think is probably like The Transporter is probably the movie that like made Jason Statham into Jason Statham, like capital J, capital S, Jason Statham. Like, would you agree, Chris? Like that, like this is the movie that kind of like turned Jason Statham into Jason Statham.
The way we think of him now.
Yeah, because obviously he's in like the Guy Ritchie movies obviously before this, and he was in a couple other things before this. But like this is the thing that like turned him into like action superstar Jason Statham.
Yeah, if you're thinking of action superstar Jason Statham, this is it. If you're thinking of like I kind of did watch Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels, and I knew him as the fast talking guy, in that. He barely fights anyone at all in that, just yelling.
And then he was in like Ghost of Mars and the One before this.
Wait,
the one was the year before The Transporter.
Okay, because I always confuse when I saw what. Because I saw Ghost of Mars like on rental, so I didn't know that this came first. But I think I saw Transport in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And Ghost of Mars I rented, so it was just like a blur of when these came out to theater or the rentals again.
And then obviously from The Transporter, you go into like Italian Job and Cellular and Transport 2 and Crank and all the other Jason Statham movies you associate with Jason Statham.
Yeah, and that's where we get the modern day Statham is basically this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right where you say this is where he gets kind of first bill credit and the action, I guess, status, because he's earned it through this. He's a different type action hero, and it was different.
Yeah. And before we get into the actual like movie, some other like kind of background stuff. So one thing I learned, kind of researching, because I didn't realize it was like this like tightly connected, but it's basically inspired by there was a series of BMW short films that BMW like sponsored it was a series called The Hire that starred Clive Owen. Have you seen any of those, Chris?
No.
Yeah, so BMW basically like commissioned these short films, and they actually got like it's this crazy, like the level of talent involved in this is insane. Like I don't know how much BMW spent for this, but it was like probably a lot because they had directors like Ang Lee and Guy Ritchie and John Woo, Joe Carnahan, Tony Scott, Neil Blomkamp, like all John Frankenheimer. Like all these guys directed like these like individual kind of like movies that were like Clive Owen was like the driver, quote unquote, and then he was like he was basically the transporter, and then he would like drive BMWs around and like be in like every film like he would be in like they're like 10 minutes each, but he would like be hired by someone or be like he'd have some sort of job in each one. Then that's like the kind of like short film was like, oh, he's like transporting this guy through like a war zone, or he's like he's got to get this guy to like the airport, and then they're like getting chased by mercenaries or something. And it was all kind of like it all kind of had like the feel like what our director was like directing it, and also like tons of like big name like co-stars is like like Forrest Whitaker's in one, and like Mickey Rourke and Stellan Skarsgård and F. Murray Abraham, Gary Oldman, Danny Trejo. So that series started in 2001, and then Luc Besson, who produced The Transporter, basically said like, yes, that series was like basically our inspiration for making The Transporter.
That makes sense. I didn't know there was a whole origin to transporting things. Yeah. I thought it was just taxi cabs.
Yeah, they're actually the Hire series. I think most of them are on YouTube, and actually you can watch the first one. Like it's called The Ambush. It's on everythingaction.com. I put it up for our Everything Action Theater to tie into this episode, so you can go watch that over there. And yeah, so very Transporter is a very French action movie. Um, it's like produced by Luc Besson, um, directed by or co-directed by Louis Letterier, and then Corey Yuen, who we talked about last week, who directed Yes, Madam. And I think they kind of sold when it came out, and it kind of like they were selling it as like this is like Corey Yuen like fully directed movie. But I think as like the years have gone on, it's like he directed the action and Louis Leterrier directed like some of the other stuff. So they kind of like they co-directed it. And then Pierre Morel, who directed Taken, like a couple of years after The Transporter, is the like director of photography for this movie. So yeah, it's this full on like French action like super team, along with like Corey Yuen behind it, and
Wow.
it's set in France. It's very French. Like you have Inspector Tarconi is in there. It's like the super French cop that is running around. It's all
I mean,
it's all
I always thought that was sort of like a Detective Clouseau guy just
yeah.
hanging out in this Parisian town.
Yeah, in Frank, like is Jason Statham, like Frank Martin, just like is like operating out of the French southern France, just like doing jobs. He lives on the French Riviera, like
Very posh.
yeah,
They never explain how he made his money prior to moving there. It's sort of he just lives in this crazy seaside tower.
well he was like a special ops soldier in some sort of British SAS or something, and then he became a driver slash mercenary, and apparently he's been the transporter for like a while because people like know to call him, and he has like this big reputation like for like transporting things. And yeah, apparently it's a very lucrative business, yeah, because he bought like basically like a fortress, like this old like fort or something like it's on like the French Riviera. And
Well,
he and
if you look closely at the top of that house, it's a lighthouse.
yeah,
So does he maintenance that lighthouse? Is he just like the
yes,
lighthouse guard? Is he like it's a crazy like is that
he
a
got
decommissioned lighthouse?
he got a discount because it's like, well, you can buy this like lighthouse fortress, but you have to operate the lighthouse. Like
That's why he's able to afford it.
yeah, and then he's also got obviously he's got his BMW, which the whole opening of this movie. Now that I know that it's based on this BMW like short film series, the entire opening chase scene is basically like an episode of like The Hire.
That
That's like
makes a lot
that's,
more sense.
that's like their homage to like that series because it has all the trademarks to like they're like showing off like the capabilities of the BMW, and Jason Statham is like talking about like the suspension and all that stuff, and like they're showing off like the dashboard and all that stuff.
You know what's crazy? I didn't notice this when I was young watching this first few times, but now I'm noticing how many product placements there are in this movie.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. Like Orangina,
Orangina
like
becomes a very plot-driven product because
yes.
it's what like downfalls him. If maybe if you bought like
Well,
another
so
drink, it would have been
well,
different.
well, like it's like saves his life because he like buys Orangina and then like it's
No,
like not
no,
there.
no. He buys Pepsi for the second one.
Oh yeah, yep. From
I
well,
don't know if
it's from an Orangina machine, but yeah, he bought Pepsi like because the machine is an Orangina machine.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's BMW, Mercedes Benz, obviously, because he steals it in Mercedes Benz later on. Um, I feel like there's like a big. I'm trying to think. There's like another like big one. I can't remember what it was. Like
Well,
a
one of them
truck or
was like
something.
Tiger. Tiger was the
Oh, Tiger
liquor
Tiger
company.
beer, Tiger beer. Yeah, that's all over the place. Yeah,
Tiger beer. I'm also thinking maybe the cell phone, but it's like very like I'm already like bombarded by so many things.
yeah. Well, yeah. The phone is not as important as like like the Matrix or something, where they like show off the phone, like the Motorola phone or whatever. Like yeah, buy this phone. It's cool.
It's how you get to places.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I mean, again, the Orangina thing was interesting just because it made me think when's the last time I had an Orangina, let alone, I don't know who sells it anymore. It's something I have to, like, really look for.
I'm sure you could probably get it on like Amazon or something.
it used to be very popular in the late '90s. I remember buying like Orange Giant and thinking how like refreshing it's gonna be. Then you have it and you're like, ooh, it's
it's
like
like
not as sweet.
it's like super watered down, like orange juice.
Yeah, yeah. It's what if someone tried to really stretch out a gallon of orange juice by just adding 4 gallons of water.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get the opening car chase where he is transporting bank robbers. Who those bank robbers seem very like low class for like hiring Jason's like the transporter. Like, how did they get his number? Like, they just seem
Yeah,
like bumbling idiots.
if Jason Statham posted his job listing in some sort of like seedy club, it's like, hey, you need a driver, call me. This is the kind of crew that would call them.
Yeah,
But their plan was to just like run in, grab money, run out, and hope the driver's going to be there.
hmm
Crazy plan.
and then they try to like trick him by like, oh, we got an extra guy, and he's like, no, like that wasn't the deal because that's like history rules is never change the deal.
Yeah, yeah, the deal's been made. Can't unchange it. Very, very cool and dramatic, but um, in the terms of morality here, like he doesn't care what happens to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the dude gets shot in the back of his seat, which could have gone wrong, and like I don't know, damaged his car, which made Frank mad. You know what I mean? Like Frank was all about, hey, my car's my life, and the guy just
yeah.
blew this guy's brains in the back. It's like, I didn't mean that.
hmm
But I do like it shows that basically they are a no nonsense crew. You know, like for such bumbling crew guys, they went for like a really big extreme of eliminating one of them.
Yeah, instead of like telling him get out of the car, they're just like, nope, dead. Like,
Yeah, dead is better. I don't know. But then they already had like another getaway driver.
yeah, that's the yeah, like Frank is driving into another driver. Like,
He
well,
didn't.
because
I would
because
have gotten the deal to take them away out of the city. Besides, drop me to the coast
well they
where
try
then they get caught again.
yeah, that's what they try like, oh, we need to drive you like to this other city, and he's like, no, it was the deal was like this point, that's it, and then they're like, all
Right.
right, and they get but then again like the other guy's waiting there already.
But they know that Frank's like he's got a reputation. It seems like he's infamous at this point. So
Yeah,
wouldn't you just be like, I need to make very clear what the deal needs? Like you like, it's not like Frank's a bad person for that. It's more like they shouldn't They should have justified the deal. They should have
Mhm.
been okay before we agree. Like let's also do a part like second deal or before this all went down. Because I feel like after this, Frank's like, yeah, no, people are gonna be looking at this BMW right now.
Well, apparently, well, we find out later, like you can just make it like if your first deal is done, you just make a new deal with him because like that's what like Vince from Fast and Furious says later. It's like he delivers like the first deal, and it's like, oh, you want to make a new deal? He's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, see, it doesn't see like that's why I'm like, I don't know why they break the rule. It's not like he needed the money, and it's
Yeah,
not like uh they had something to give him that was way worth it. But we'll get into that part real when we get soon. But I don't know, like that's the same. Like it just seems like his deal fell apart for no reason. His like like even in like compare this to Drive. Now, side note, do you think Drive is on the same level as the Driver? Like I mean, the Drive is somewhere in
oh,
that realm of
like Ryan Gosling.
not well, yeah, the Ryan Gosling movie, the American version of Transporter, basically.
Yeah,
But he adheres to like a code. He breaks it. It goes bad. He has to clean up his own mess.
Mhm.
But for him to break his code, it made sense. And then when he does it here, it's sort of like I don't know, like it comes out of like a plot, like it just like, hey, we have to just move this along, or else we watch Frank just pretty much be awesome, like
yeah.
it's that MacGuffin.
hmm
I don't know. I just thought, okay, he already broke one rule, then he's like, fuck it, let's break two. Like he kept on going.
It's also interesting, like rewatching it so recently too. Like, it's interesting that like this opening scene is like really like the only big like
Drive
Frank behind the
sequence.
wheel driving
Yeah.
sequence because like the other two movies that have featured Jason Statham are like all about like he's in the car for like most of the movie, and then this one is like you get this the opening sequence, and like the rest of the movie is like a lot of like fights and other stuff. But like, and then he loses, like he even like loses his car completely, like halfway through, or like a third of the way through.
Twice. He loses 2 cars. He loses his BMW.
Yeah.
When it blows up in his house. No, it blows up in the street.
Yeah, the
then
gas
he has
station.
a Mercedes. Yeah,
Yep.
the gas station. Then he has a Mercedes that he stole. And that blows up in the house he has.
Yep.
And then he pretty much doesn't drive anything for a while.
He's more like, he's not the transporter, he's like the runner. Like, he does a lot of running.
A lot of running, a lot of random hopping onto things. But
yes.
It's, again, it's definitely just to introduce him and his crazy abilities, not so much his prowess. Because, I don't know, do you think that just maybe that part of South France, just they don't deal with a lot of car chases, so, they just were not prepared? Because it seems like the cops were just not ready for a car chase. Like, he's driving a sports car, a late 90s sports car, and the police are driving like, I don't know, like 80s, like high-end, like, things you would think like a Taurus, things of French police cars.
He's also like, he's not doing that crazy of moves. Like, he's doing like precision driving, but he's not doing like crazy stuff. The crazy thing he does is like jump off the bridge and like ends up on like
onto a carrier
truck transport. Yeah,
which is I think the only big stunt in the car that is just unbelievably impossible. I mean, granted, they get crazier from there. Like, they kind of get in that territory of like your car would explode. Just the stress alone. But this one's off the bat, it does it. It jumps over like a knee-high wall.
Yep, yeah. And he times it absolutely perfectly, and there's like conveniently a slot where that truck, like, for his car on that truck.
I'm fine with that. Like, he sees it though from his rear view to time it, because he basically had no plan besides, I guess I'll jump it and then we'll deal with the street level.
Yeah.
But I also think in Frank's mind, during that getaway drive, he's not... If he gets caught, he can just say, oh, no, they ran in my car and held me hostage. Like, that's his backup plan, I think. It makes sense. If you're
I'm sure he's got, like, contingency plans for everything.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, officers, like, I'm Frank. I'm a British... ex-soldier who's living in France, who happens to have this awesome souped-up car.
And I'm wearing driving gloves.
Yeah, don't worry about that. So, yeah, like, that's why, like, in my head, he's pretty smart about having, I will meet you at the crime. But, yeah, pretty much the detective knows it's him. Like, after that, he's like, hey, like, I know it's you. Yeah, but because you didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, Tarconi knows exactly what Frank's doing, but like, there's never, like, he doesn't have, like, because Frank is so careful, he doesn't have the evidence to, like, directly, like, tie him to it, or he doesn't care because he's not really like people aren't getting injured, or like people like, or it's only like criminals that are getting injured or like getting arrested, so it's like he doesn't care.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that they're okay with for the beginning. Because,
I feel like watching the first one again, like, Tarconi is definitely more like, he seems more like cagey and smart in this one. Then they made him like more like comic relief in the next two ones.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's basically, he becomes Detective Clouseau, Inspector Clouseau, by the time they get around to it.
Because I think it was like 2 or 3. Like, it was just like he had the whole subplot. Like, it's like, Frank, we gotta go fishing. Come on, like.
Yeah, it's weird because you figured their friendship would be over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Frank, not to spoil much, but Frank, like, has a gun to his head as a decoy. You can't just be like...
That was Tarconi's idea.
Yeah, but, like, the police will still be after you, and then they know who you are, you just can't walk out of a police station, which, I mean, he does.
Well, I think he moves like to a different country or something in Transport 2.
Okay. Well,
like, I think he leaves France and goes to Miami, and then I think 3 is in a totally different one.
Is 3 like Estonia or someplace? Like, it's
yeah.
Okay, so you just can never go back to south of France then.
But somehow Tarconi is always showing up like he's like, hey, I'm on vacation in Miami. Like I'm here. Yeah, let's go
I'm okay.
fishing.
I'm okay with that just because you know it. He's just like the I guess the like detective part, like the like law justice part of Frank
Yeah.
needs that voice of reason, French reason.
But yeah, he's definitely way more like crafty and smart, and like he knows exactly what's going on in this first one, and then like he just gets dumber in the next two. But yeah, they have a fun dynamic in this first one, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, I like it.
and then Frank gets his next transport job, which is for Matt Schulze, aka Vince from Fast and Furious.
Skinny Vince, because he
Yeah, yeah.
is totally not how I remember him.
I think the year after Fast and Furious, because like Fast and Furious was like 2001, right? And this is
Yeah,
2002, so and yeah, it's to deliver a bag to from a random town in France to his mansion. Which now this like watching this again, I like I was watching it. I read the Wikipedia. Like it's like what was the point of this? Like, what is the point of this like mission like job? Like what was because
no idea. The
that
henchman could have done it. It's the same henchman.
and why was because we find out obviously that like there's a woman being transported, Lai, who's played by Shu Qi, who's a like I think this is like her only like Hollywood movie, but she's a massive Taiwanese actress. Like, she's like one of the
Oh
biggest
yeah,
Taiwanese
she's
actors of all time.
popular everywhere,
Yeah,
but it's like I'm Hollywood.
this is like her one thing. She's like, I'm done. I'm not doing Hollywood anymore. Like, but yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
but so she's getting transported. But like, why is she getting transported? Like, what was the whole point of her being transported? Because
So
like
she was trying to like spill the beans on her
her
father's
father
human
and
trafficking.
Vince, because they're human trafficking.
Yeah, they have a human trafficking deal.
But like, why not just like stick her in the container with the other like human trafficking people, or like have her just like have her father just holds on to her and be like, "You're gonna learn," because that's basically what happens later on. Is like he just like holds her hostage. But like, why did he like send her to like his partner in a bag?
No idea. It just made it made everything goddamn worse.
Because that blew up their entire that blew up their entire scheme. Like if they never did that, they would have gotten like their human trafficking victims in no issues.
If I mean the car that they drove the bag in to drop to Frank was significantly big enough for three people,
Yeah.
and it seemed like Shu Qi is like 50 pounds. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how big a like what was it like 4 kilos. I don't like it didn't seem like a lot from what they're
Yeah.
describing and how they just handled that bag. It seemed like
Yeah,
nothing was in there.
she fits in a duffel bag that fits in like a BMW trunk.
And then the way I get it that the strong henchman put her in there, but he did it so effortlessly
Mm-hmm.
to like dump this human body in this BMW trunk. And then yeah, if I couldn't understand either. Also, how long was the drive between the drop off point at 7 a.m. to like I don't know where he was going. I have no frame of reference of like how far in France he was driving with this woman.
It seemed like a while because he like stopped for lunch and then they stopped again to like because she needed to go to the bathroom and then like, all the wacky hijinks of like her trying to escape and then him like fighting those cops with her like using her as like a weapon basically.
Okay, but was that like a 5 hour drive?
It had to be like it had to be like all day kind of like or like he left in the morning and then got there like it seemed like late afternoon or something or like
Late
in the
afternoon,
afternoon
so
time.
maybe ballpark. Let's say worst 6 hours.
Yeah.
6 hour drive. But it seemed like everyone else in this movie can drive wherever they need to go within minutes or hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like why is Frank's casual cruise around France 6 hours?
He's wanted to take it like he's taking the coastal like he just wanted to see the
Yeah,
countryside like
if you think about where he drove through, and I thought about it, like he picks them up at some like port, like he picks them up at some coastline. You can see the water.
yeah.
Okay, like a beach town. He picks him up in a beach town, basically. He drives through the city, through the countryside, through a mountain, to the gas station. Then he drives to another city where he drops her off at a mansion.
Yep.
That is not like a remote. It's on a busy street. Because it's only private. It's like a whole block that they live on. And then it's like private, like entry road. But because it's gated. But I was thinking, it's like, why do all this? It seems like if you're human traffickers, this is the worst human trafficking. Like they themselves, the villains themselves, are transporters.
And the dad or Vince never give a reason why they were doing it. Like it's not like there wasn't teach her a lesson or like it's like some sort of weird deal between them. It's just like, oh yeah, we just put you in a bag. Like
yeah, they never mentioned why they did that particular transport.
Yeah.
But everything else makes sense because she wants to figure out how to stop the operation of the cargo people. Like,
yeah. There should have been just a line of like, "Oh, I sent you to my partner because I couldn't kill you, but he would," or something, or like just some sort of explanation of like, yeah.
That totally would have justified everything. Then
it's such a huge plot hole. Like if you think about it, it just like the entire the plot just like crumbles. But if you don't think about it, it's fine. But
they could have fixed it. If they could have just said, "Oh, Vince was going to is gonna."
Teach you a lesson or kill you or he wanted you like for like his personal use or something and icky like that.
He's got
and then,
a weird crush, yeah. Vince is already the villain. There's no harm in making him worse sounding.
Mm-hmm.
He just sounds more because he was already kind of. I don't know. I feel like he was into Jason Statham a bit. Like he was flirting with him. Did you get that far?
I like this guy.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm gonna
meet cute.
I'm gonna blow him up, but I like this guy.
Okay, we'll get into this part, but yeah. So him, I didn't mind his acting for it. It was kind of different, and I mean, he was like a kind of Yeah.
Was he supposed to be French? Because like because he calls Jason Statham a foreigner. And I'm
yes, I heard that too.
He's like, you're a foreigner, dude. Like, you're not French.
You're so American.
I've been living in France for a year. I'm French. I'm a native French person. Bonjour.
I've gone native and I like cheese and wine for breakfast. Like what? I don't know. I don't know why he's like, you're foreign, right? Like, yeah, so are you. Like, what is that gonna do with the deal?
Yeah.
So yeah, Vince is interesting because he does that, hey, let's do a second deal. And in the movie, they did that deal because he knows he opened the package. Somehow.
Because she's like
he knew.
Because Lai is like squirming or something, so he's like, "Oh, you must have opened it," because she's like squirming and trying to get out or something.
But
maybe
in 6 hours, of course. And it's like you didn't give her drugs or anything to knock her out. B, he's not blindfolded. You just put like duct tape and the most like soft rope on her.
I guess just to be sure that like he didn't find out about their like smuggling business, but like if you didn't transport in the first place, he never would have found out about the smuggling business. So they
themselves added that dumb like loose end, which they try to fix. Which if their plan was to kill him anyway, that's fine. But he explains, you looked at the package, and it's just like, I think when he gets confronted later, he says, "Oh, we tried to kill you because you looked at the package." He's like, "How the hell did you know?
You broke your own rule, man."
Well, it should have been, "Oh, you shouldn't have accepted the bomb." Like I thought he was gonna say something like that, where it's like, it wasn't even about the girl at that point. It was, "Oh, you broke your rule about making a second deal right after the first deal was completed."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. See what I mean? Like it
I
don't get hung up, but they establish that, and then that's why in the next few movies, no more of those rules. Those rules are pretty much like restarted.
And these Vince and Ric Young in this movie are just like, they are just causing all their own issues. Like they just like not like just keep like don't even do like their deal would have went through perfectly fine. They would have gotten like 400 Chinese people into France, smuggled in. They would have been rich if they never just not like dealt with the transporter, not did this weird kidnapping scheme.
If they just didn't use the transporter, and here's the thing: if you know his last job was with those bumbling bank robbers, like you're like, yeah, that's the guy we want. The guy that works for anyone with the right money.
But yeah, so Vince tries to blow him up. He survives because he bought Pepsi for the cops that were in his trunk who did die. They got blown up really good. But they blow up his BMW, and then he goes back to the house and just kicks everyone's ass looking for Vince, but he's not there. But he basically kills or like maims everyone else there.
I do like that sequence because it's shot totally different than the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's
like camcorder and a little low quality for some of the angles at the time.
It's almost like choreographed to the score too. Like I feel like it's like choreographed to the music. Like it's like every movement that Frank does is like it's like to the beats. Like it's like a weird like deliberate like all the movements is like very deliberate. To, like it's almost like sync to the music.
So did you ever see Kiss of the Dragon?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's another Corey Young movie.
Yeah.
I think like half the same stunt team, and it's very similar in tone with the where it's like trying to infuse like a little bit of hip hop and dance music, I guess, because it's not techno yet. But
well, the score, the score is definitely it's like Euro. It's
Euro.
It's trance. I don't know if it's not trance, but it's like Euro electronic, like
Euro. Yeah, electronic is a better word.
But also just like these like very like aggressive like these like needle drops that come in and like it's like just like out of nowhere. It's just like like that the nocturnal song like music or like the Nate Dogg song. We're just like, but it's like in the middle of a scene of just this like this song just like starts blasting like full volume like.
It is shot like a music video. I feel like it was a very striking, I guess, scene just because it's kind of aggressive and it still holds up. Like you see all the action really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable. It's not like shaky cam fighting, like you know what I mean. Like it doesn't have that issue that a lot of martial art movies had in the 2000s, where basically you just see like blurs and you see like the camera shot from like the shoulders.
Oh yeah. We were like, I think like Born Identity came out like the year before this, maybe, or like around this time, and then we're getting into like the shaky cam, like really like trying to be like naturalistic action. But yeah, this is like very super choreographed, super deliberate. Like everything is like very like paced a certain way. It also has like the like there's guys with axes, which it feels like is like a very like Hong Kong kind of like touch to it. Like guys just to show up with axes.
Oh yeah, I mean, in this rich house, there's 2 fire axes just for safety.
Yeah.
Is that just some I guess requirement in French houses? It's like, all right, you got your fire extinguisher and you have your fire axe.
And I think,
don't forget, the new 2004. I mean, 2024. Time to change your fire extinguishers.
Yeah. I feel like in this scene too, and then the rest of the movie, like the action scenes too, like all the action sequences really. There's a lot of Jason Statham like really like stretching or like kind of like contorting himself or like contorting the guys around him. That's like his kind of like trademark is like I'm gonna twist these guys into like I'm gonna twist myself around these guys into like a pretzel and then like flip them all at the same time or something. Or like I'm gonna hold one guy with like foot this way and like hold another guy with a hand this way.
I don't think that's a Jason Statham move.
Well, I feel like because like he was like he's like a diver or something. I feel like that's like they're showing off like his like flexibility or something or like his like.
See,
also his martial arts because like he's like was he? I think he trained in like kickboxing and Wing Chun and some other stuff, karate.
We're talking about Jason Statham himself or Frank?
Jason Statham, yeah.
So that it's like a Wing Chun kind of like flow that's a Corey Young choreography.
Mhm.
And I say that because I've seen a lot of Jet Li movies in the 90s.
Yeah, and
And it's pretty much the
Corey
same.
Yen, yeah, Corey Yen did all those the fight choreography, all the Jet Li like '90s movies. So
So that's why I'm like, no, it's not a Jason Statham trademark.
it's a Corey
That's
Yuen
a
trademark.
Corey Yen trademark. Try to
Yeah,
cluster your enemies. If he's fighting more than two people, hug them all together, and then somehow hit them all at once. Like
yep.
that is a Corey Young move. Like,
Mhm.
or they do that trademark thing where it's you have three attackers, you start backing up and start deflecting them all the hits. That's another like staple.
Yeah.
I think he does that in two. I think if that was Corey Young in that, but there's definitely like a stance that you see happen whenever it's three attackers on one, and whoever's defending, let it be Jason Statham, Jet Li, it's always the same. It's always like one guy going high, one guy going from the left, one guy going from the right. So it's like the same like blocking. That's a Wing Chun thing, like how to block from all those angles,
Mhm.
and that's in like a lot of those Corey Young movies.
But Frank basically he takes out everyone at the house. But Vince slash Wall Street, which is his character's name in this movie,
His name
is
is
not
Wall
there.
Street.
It's like Darren Wall Street Bettencourt is his character's name.
Who? When do they call him Wall Street?
They never do. I think you see his name if you like look very very closely on the computer screen later on in the police station. Like it's like because like Lied like pulls up his file and it's like his name's in the file. But yeah, I don't think they ever even say like his name or his nickname or anything. But Frank steals one of his BMW, so he has a BMW now. But then uh, lies in the back seat, and then they get back to his house, and like he's like, you know, very grumpy about having to deal with her now, and wants nothing to do with her. But then there's all the wacky hijinks with like she's trying to make him breakfast, and then Tarconi shows up, and they're like, "Oh, I'm the new cook." Like, and then we don't know about anything about like a BMW, like a house getting attacked or police getting blown up.
Yeah, the inquiry for Frank's place is super suspicious, and even for
It's
like
like
Tarconi, he just has to ignore it because he's like, yeah,
your
okay, what a lie that feed me.
your BMW's gone, or like Frank says it got stolen, and then like so like whoever stole like blew it up with cops inside of it. And Tarconi's like, "All right, yep, uh huh,"
Uh,
and then
the fact that cops blew up in his trunk is pretty like
yeah,
washed over. I kind of
that
forgot that too.
yeah, that seems like Tarconi seems like he's like you know okay with like what Frank's doing, but like cops getting killed should be like no, Frank. It's like it's over. Like
I
that's
gotta bring you in
yeah, like that's over the line, Frank. I don't care what you've been doing for like last like however many years it's been, but cops are dead now.
because he can forgive. Like I said, he can forgive some parts, and then it's you know, hey, the law got involved and our officer, some probably his department died, just so that's, that's where the charade has to end.
hmm
But it
But
doesn't.
yeah, he leaves. He's like, all right, fine, and then Wall Street's guys show up with crazy like these like insane missiles. Like one of them is like decked out with like like a shark tooth. Like it looks like a attack helicopter or something. It's got like a shark mouth on it, and then they blow up Frank's house. But Frank and Lai managed to escape because Frank has a like secret escape tunnel with like a scuba tank. Which how long has that scuba tank been like under his house? like
I guess he has to refill it every few months because it doesn't, it's just sitting there, oxygen rich and just
yeah.
opened.
And also like the mask, like like algae would start growing on the like masks. Like you just
Oh,
like
yeah,
left
no,
them.
sea life would take that
Yeah. Mm.
over. It wouldn't just be this pristine tank unless every few days he goes down there and replaces it. But yeah, I don't mind. Again, it's a plot thing.
Yeah.
He knew that's an escape plan.
But then the movie it's weird because like the movie turns into like a Jacques Cousteau or like some sort of like ocean documentary for like a
It
couple
does
minutes
go
where
on for a while.
where it's just like, look at this ocean, look this beautiful ocean photography. Like it's like a nature documentary now.
Come to South France, where you can
Yeah,
dive into
scuba.
crystal
Yeah.
clear waters and scuba with the sea life, and occasionally watch a lighthouse explode.
Did they swim past like a World War II mine? It looked like they swim past like a mine or something underwater, but I don't know. There's a lot of like much more like scuba
we
diving
still have
photography.
we still have D-Day relics.
Yeah, but yeah, they get to someone's house. I got like Frank because like well, apparently
It breaks
Frank.
into like a rich person's house.
Yeah, and he because like and like Lai's like, is this your house? He's like, what do you think? And then it's just like, apparently not. And then and then they go back. So then they go back to Tarconi. Like they go to the police station like to answer more questions, I guess, or they get called like or like to like talk to Tarconi because their house blew up. Like hey, my house blew up, and then he's like, well, why did your house blow up? And Frank's like, I don't know.
Yeah, just can we look into this crime? Wait, they go to Tarconi to find about stuff about Wall Street.
Well, I think
But
they go there because it's like they go there to like report that Frank's house got blown up. I guess to, like ease suspicion off them of like, hey, like my house got blown up by people. I don't know. Like, why? Can you investigate this? Like, they blew up my house. Like,
okay, I kind of missed that. I thought they were there to do their like spy routine.
well, that while they're there, then they're like, oh yeah, like Lai gets on the
Might
computer,
as
and is like,
well.
hey, yeah, here's the guy, here's Vince, like,
Okay.
and then she gets like his office location, which he runs like I don't even know what kind of like company. It's just like he has like this. He runs like this. He's like the CEO of this like like some sort of business in France.
Let me see what they wrote because I forgot. It just like is it just Human Trafficking Incorporated? Like I don't know how he's like a like he's like respected businessman.
Yeah. Is it a shipping company? Is that how they get the shipping containers?
I think it is. That makes more sense now. That
Like he runs like a shipping company, but they're using it to like smuggle people in, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So one, I just looked. If you look at the Wikipedia, so that 50 kilograms is 110 pounds. So
Yeah.
Shu Qi is 110 pounds.
Uh huh.
Give or take maybe 4 pounds on that bag, so maybe 106 pounds.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm looking online what they even said what business like Wall Street had, and it apparently it's just business.
He's just he's a businessman doing business.
But then that explains why there is a deal with the Chinese, which is where Ric Young is, and then that's I guess it's two different evil organizations working together.
Apparently, like he's like Ric Young, like Mr. Kwai is the he's the guy like just the human trafficking guy, and then he's like partnered with Wall Street to like as like the shipping part of it, I guess, or something. But then you find out Ric Young is Lai's father, and then Frank. Then they arrest Frank, and because he shows up, and then like they like knock him out, and then he gets arrested by Tarconi, and but then Tarconi's like, if you were out of here, you could like probably solve all this. You could probably resolve this in like a couple hours, right, Frank?
Very slow. I like the kind of playfulness in their conversation, kind of like a Batman and Gordon
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
But it's like there would be way more. Like, is this how easy it is to escape from French prisons, like French jail cells?
Just like had the main detective just like leave the cell open, or like conspire with you to like be a hostage.
And someone should have like knocked and be like, "Hey, we hear you. Like we speak English too. We know what's going on."
But Frank gets out, and then he is he basically like, gets in a boat, and he goes to attack the like stop. There's like they're loading up the people on the the docks of like this. I think it's like Marseille or something.
Yep.
So he's gonna stop them. Which also no, like Frank only wears his suit, like his like trademark transporter suit for like the first like until like his like until he gets back from like his house. And from like, and then he's wearing like these like polo shirts and like sweaters and stuff. Like it's like
Yeah,
a very
he looks like a fit dad by the end.
yeah. It's the most casual like action hero like costumes or like clothing. Like because like the other two movies are like, oh no, he's in the suit for the entire fucking movie. Like he's never getting out of that suit. That's the transporter.
If he's not wearing the suit, he's just shirtless, which is still great. He's also shirtless in this for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, it's tactical shirtless because he takes his like sweater off to like wrap guys up with it.
So, let's go back to. I just want to talk about how like the police they like give a little bit of breathing room from Frank and Tarconi so they can get away in Tarconi's shitty ass car.
Yep.
They don't give chase. They're just done with giving chases at that point. The French police just gave up on car chases.
Don't follow me.
Yeah, don't follow. Okay, like really? They really were true to their word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the exchange between them where he's just like, hey, you're going to go take him on, and you're going to go in this little boat with no gun, and Frank's just like, I got this. I scubaed once.
This is my boat. I also planned for this boat that has like machine guns in it.
I mean, his plan is pretty cool. It's just infiltrate, but he's not wearing black or anything. He's wearing the same clothes. He doesn't get tactical. He's just wearing the same outfit.
Yeah, he's a loose green seaside like country sweater like.
Yeah, I forgot. Oh my god, like it's very French, you know, like
yep.
in a like he's gonna have a relaxing wine drink right after this fight, but
yeah,
it's a nighttime cargo infiltration, and he goes in it like so. You're right, so casual, and it's just like he's got the tough guy look, but he should look like more of an expendable at that point than looking like this.
Yeah, put on like a black turtleneck or something, Frank. Like, come on, like.
Put some like grease makeup on so you can blend to your face burns in the dark. Something.
But yeah, so he figures they're loaded at the truck. He tries to stop the truck, but then he is forced off. Like he basically is forced into like this bus depot, and that's where the big fight scenes happen. Like the big like climactic fight scenes where he fights a bunch of guys on a bus to start with. And a bus that has like conveniently just has like metal pipes all over the place. There's just like metal pipes like lying under the seats of this bus that the room pulls out. And that's like a big like close quarters. Probably the best bus fight until Nobody came out a couple years ago.
Yes, it's close quarters and then very I don't know, like they also had guns in that, right?
A few of the guys had guns.
No,
yeah.
they didn't. Inside the bus, they didn't. He had the knife for no reason.
Yep. His like tiny tactical knife that he like throws at the guy's crotch at one point.
Yeah, he threatens the one guy, and he gives up fighting. There was this one guy during that fight where he puts the knife into the guy's throat, and that guy just goes, I give up. Like,
nope, yeah,
not worth this.
Oh, and then as you mentioned, like Jason Statham is shirtless at this point because he tied up two guys with his like tactical green sweater and like wrapped them up and knocked them out with it. And then after the bus fight, then we get like the craziest fight of the movie, and then I feel like it's like something we haven't even like I don't think I've ever seen like another movie like try to replicate is like the oil fight.
That's in this one.
That's in the first one, yeah. Like he is a different part of the bus station where it's like all the like oil, like the engine grease and all the like bus grease and like these like bins, and he's like classic, like he's surrounded by a circle of guys, but then Frank starts dumping out all the oil, and then like he dumps it on himself, and then he's like super slippery and they can't grab him, and then he puts on there's a bike just for a random reason in this like bus depot too, and
they bike more.
he rips off the bike pedals and puts them on his feet, so that gives him traction, and everyone else doesn't have traction, and then that's how he like takes out these guys out. Is like he's like kicking them like with like these bike pedals on his feet, which I feel like that is like that, I feel like you still like that all this oil on the
That
ground.
would fall.
Like,
That still
yeah,
wouldn't make you.
that'd be like you're on ice skates. Like I feel like that wouldn't like give you like this like mass amount of traction on oil. Like oh these bike pedals like
Yeah, he's pretty much like walking. Like
yeah oh no
I mean,
he's like
it's high heel walking, but or like tiptoe.
He's almost like doing like ballet or something. He's doing this like spinning like kicks and stuff and like on these bike pedals and
It's the disbelief of the movie, so I forgive it. It looks cool. It probably gets stuck to get kicked with some dude with bike pedals.
Yeah. And then there's also like there's like the one guy there's like the one main guy like the guy with like the like chin strap like beard like the big guy.
Yeah, the big guy.
Who it seems like he should have like there should have been like a bigger fight between him and Jason Statham or something, but like he just uses him like a human shield, and, like he gets like shot a billion times, and like they fall out the window. There's like no build up to him as like a mini boss or like a 1-on-1 fight or anything. He's just like oh no he just got shot a bunch of times like by his own guys.
Is that guy like a real martial artist?
I feel like
I've seen him in like a few things, but
yeah.
I just feel like for budgeting, they're just like, we need to just move this fight on.
We have another giant set piece that involves trucks we have to get to. So
yeah, they're just like we're grossly over budget. It's like an Indiana Jones move. It's just you have to be a human shield now.
Yeah, and also like an oxygen tank because like there's that like Frank like does mouth to mouth underwater with him and steals oxygen from his like his dead body to like stay underwater longer. Which I feel like you don't see like very often in like action movies.
No. The big guy is Jean-Marie Paris. Paris. Mm-hmm. Oh, he was apparently in the Transporter Refuel too.
I was a different character because, but it feels like he should be like that was like that should have been like a Marco Zarora or something like another crazy like martial arts guy to fight Jason Statham.
Yeah, there actually is like a very talented martial artist stuntman that shows up. The French dude with the blonde hair.
Yeah,
he was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he's Jason Statham's like stunt double during this, but he shows up for the fight and then just gets knocked out like instantly.
Yeah.
That's his like on-screen like full frontal camera time. Then we just never see him again. Yeah, there should have been like another martial art equal, but there isn't. It's like the best we get is Vince.
Well, yeah. So Frank escapes the bus depot, and then he has to catch up with the truck because it's been like, well, the entire time he's been fighting these guys in the bus depot, like this truck has been driving on the highway, the French highway. And it's like miles away now, and then he steals a shitty little car and he like drives into like it like blows it up and like driving it past its limits. Then he hijacks a plane, like a crowd testing plane, and then he parachutes out of the plane onto the truck. And then this whole like final like truck sequence I feel is like it kind of feels like an homage to like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, do you get that vibe, Chris? Where it's like, you know, he's fighting to get get into the driver's like cab of the truck. He ends up under the truck. Like it feels like very Raiders.
I didn't think about that, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a cool homage, I guess.
Because like he gets thrown out. He gets thrown out the windshield of the truck, and he's like under the truck, just like Indy was. And then like he's like climbs his way back up and like get back into the cab, and then there's like he's fighting a guy in like he's fighting like Vince, and then like first the driver, like the random driver gets like killed, like getting run over by the truck after, or like no he's on the door and the door like
flies off,
breaks off, and then he flies off in a ditch, and he's dead.
And then. I always thought this was a reversal of the Fast and the Furious, where it was about people trying to hijack a truck, but now it's Jason Statham trying to hijack a truck from a guy from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty clever, but they intentionally did that. Yeah, I give props to Wall Street because he is doing the work. Like he is a guy that is like not only running a company, not only trying to blow up the transporter, he is actively like in the car. He's with the human trafficky people.
Yeah.
He's a very involved like villain, but I just wish he was either a better martial artist, like a martial artist, or someone in the back shooting. Like he should be the guy in an office room shooting at Jason Statham, not like fighting him in the
Yeah,
cab.
he's sort of like remember the bad guy from Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol,
Yeah,
like Michael Nyqvist, who's like doing everything himself.
like unbelievably doing it well.
He had he had like two henchmen, and the rest, he was like the rest of he was doing himself.
Well, technically, he had a lot of henchmen.
And then Frey killed them all. Yeah.
So is it supposed to be that they're down to just him? Was he the last one of his gang? Maybe. This deal to transport 400 people might have been worth it, but we still don't really know why these people are getting human trafficking or where they're going.
Yeah, so somewhere in France, and I guess to sell for labor or something. The whole scheme is just why are they doing it? What are they getting from it? Why did they sabotage themselves? Yeah,
we'll never know. The movie never goes any further than this Chinese company was trying to transport Chinese people to a French company to more France.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with it because the only person that actually trying to stop the whole thing wasn't even Frank. Frank is just trying to get back Shu Qi. Shu Qi is the one that came from America to stop this, and she came in with no guns, no preparation, just came here to complain.
Well, maybe that's why she got transported. She complained to her father about you can't human traffic people. And he's like, well, I can human traffic you. I'll put you in a bag.
I want to see that scene. It's just
the deleted scene.
Yeah, that's a good scene. It's so crude, but it makes more sense than what happened to her. Because did they pick her up in the airport and then just throw her in the luggage?
Yeah. She's been in the bag since wherever Ric Young came from, from Hong Kong or whatever.
So she's just constantly getting kidnapped she is constantly getting kidnapped this whole movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the truck scene was pretty cool. It definitely tops in the depot scene, but it is, if you think about it, like you said, with the Indiana Jones thing in mind, cool. I just wish Jason Statham had a hat then or something.
Yeah, and also Vince / Wall Street, his death is a little anticlimactic. He just gets thrown out of the truck. Like Jason Statham's kind of elbows him a couple times and throws him out of the truck, and then I think in the there's because it's different in the theatrical and the unrated version. In the theatrical version, you see him kind of rolling down the road and he's dead. But in the I think in the uncut version, he is I think he's crushed under the wheels of the truck.
Oh. Damn, because I saw, I guess the version I had was just the theatrical, the basic one where they throw him, it goes into a dummy. He pretty much, it's a survivable injury.
Mm-hmm.
But no, crush under that French 4-wheeler, dead. And I'm there's still a chance he might come back in a later movie, maybe.
He probably just has a broken arm or a broken leg or some really bad road rash, But yeah, so Frank has full control of the truck, but he stops it. But then Ric Young is still there, and he marches Jason Statham to the coast to kill him, while one of his other henchmen takes Lai off to somewhere else, and then there's a gun. He's he's giving his villain monologue, but then you hear a gunshot. Because he's talking about she'll learn to appreciate what I do, whatever. What he said, and then the gunshot. He's like, oh, I guess she won't learn what I do. She won't get respect for what I do, and you'll be dead too.
Yeah, it's a very long monologue with pauses. Usually, a villain monologues for a while. This is just straight up. Let's wait for it's a lot of talking and waiting, and then
it's also weird because Jason Statham Frank is picks up a rock, so it seems like he has some sort of plan to knock him over the head with a rock or something. but he never, but he doesn't have to do that
We'll
because
never
Lai
see
shoots
what that
him.
plan
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I mean,
Because Lai
I
shoots
guess
his own
this,
father, and then that's it.
yeah, it
They
ends
rescue.
abruptly.
Yes, they rescue all the people. Tarconi shows up. He's like, "Good job, Frank. That's exactly as I planned it would go." Like,
I'm the best French inspector here. Like,
yeah,
my plan works perfectly all the time. I let the soldier clean up my mess.
hmm
The
and then, and then
yeah,
Frank's like, I'm then Frank's like, I'm moving to Miami.
but like they free the people in the truck.
Yeah.
There's that end scene where
Yep.
they're just getting more human trafficked out of there. Where I guess there's 400 people in that cargo truck,
Yeah.
and like the movie's smart by not really like to show that they all survived or a good amount of them, but yeah, that's like the human trafficking thing is just like a secondary part. Even though it's the main crux of the villain's plans, it's sort of like it doesn't help or hinder the plot. It just is there as a scenery. All these people in the truck are just like a bunch of extras they put in the truck for like one scene. It's not even like a hinted at the beginning, the middle, like you don't see any of them. I think you see maybe them being shoved in the truck, but that's about it.
Which I mean, Frank is only in it for like kind of in it for revenge because they blew up his car. They tried to kill him, and then they blew up
They
his house.
killed the girl.
But even if they blew up his house, he's just like, I'm not getting involved. Like, I'll buy a new house. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, he's smart about it. He's just like, nope.
yeah,
Listen, I just drive a car. I do not deal in like mob enforcement. Plus, it seems like whatever he's been doing, it's all in that underworld that we don't get to see. Like they didn't make a cool John Wick underworld yet. They didn't know how to do that
yeah.
yet. So yeah, they didn't really want to complicate the story.
Well, in the BMW series, like the hire, like I don't think it's just criminals that are hiring him. I think it's like there's like a bunch of just like random people are like hiring Clive Owen to like do stuff. Like he's hired, like one of his jobs is to like transport this like very like high maintenance actress played by Madonna. That's the Guy Ritchie episode. And then
Mm.
but then you find out like his manager actually like wanted Clive Owen to like teach her a lesson. So he's like the whole episode is like kind of like this like comedy one where he's like just like driving like super recklessly and like throwing her around the back of the car.
Giving Madonna whiplash.
Basically, like, his manager's like, "Yeah, teach, you got to knock her down a notch. Like, drive her crazy. Like, teach her a lesson by like driving around crazy around town." But yeah, Frank is all random criminals. Well, except,
I'm
but then too, like he's doing that like super long term job of like driving like the wealthy family is like he's like the chauffeur for like the wealthy family. So
I get it. You just blew up South France human
yeah,
trafficking ring. You can't
yeah.
just be jumping into more underground stuff, especially when he skirts by the repercussions.
Yeah, like there's no like yeah, Tarconi doesn't care. Like the police are there's minimal police. Like
Yeah, I mean, granted, he lost his home and his album of childhood photos that he kept on a bookshelf. I didn't want to get into that because that's a time sink of that
yeah,
just casually being there, and you see actual young Jason Statham photos.
yep. But yeah, I think that'll do it for the transporter. Still holds up. Still like besides the plot that now that we've seen it like very recently, it makes no sense. But the action holds up really well. Like Jason Statham still like this is like the birth of him being like the action movie badass that we all know and love today. And also definitely like that whole like the French kind of that French European action like there's a whole bunch of that in this era too of like Luc Besson was producing a bunch of stuff for like Louis Leterrier is like directing a bunch of stuff for
Yeah, Luc Besson making his like 2000s debut is pretty strong. It weans a little bit, later on, but in this, it's great because it's not like he's making The Professional again. He's not making Leon the Professional all over again.
Mhm.
He has something different, and like it definitely is like the European action is slower because it's not like constant bombardment and there's not a lot of tech use. It's basically like we need to get from point A to point B and do as much like explanation how to get there or show you how they do it. They don't care like there's no
We have to,
MacGuffin, you know, there's
we,
no
we,
magic thing.
we have to show Jason Statham running across this field to this plane, like
Yeah,
running through the woods, like.
I think whoever made like when they made Crank, they were like, we love that scene where Jason Statham is panic at running through the countryside. Let's just make a
Yeah.
whole series of movies based on that concept of panic running Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Which I love if you think about Jason Statham's movies. The Crank series is like, hey, what if Frank had no car and basically did a bunch of crazy shit all the time?
Mm-hmm.
So
Crank
gets up later in his career.
Yeah, Crank is like definitely like next, like that's like the next like Transporter is like one level, and then Crank is like the next level. Like that's like peak. That's like ultimate Statham. Like,
yes.
But yeah, check out the Transporter you haven't seen in a while. It's still great. And come back next week. We are talking about a one of our favorites that's celebrating its 35th anniversary. The 80s skateboarding classic Gleaming in the Cube. We'll be diving into all that. Which we were talking about the plot of this one of the Transporter. Man, the plot of Gleaming in the Cube is ridiculous. So we'll get into all that. We'll get into all the skateboarding, all the cameos. Tony Hawk shows up. Pizza Hut is a major plot point. So all that next week. Gleaming the Cube. Check that out before next week's episode, and then come back and listen to that. And head over to the site for all of our usual stuff, everythingaction.com. We got all of our reviews and trailers and news and everything else up there. Head over and check all that stuff out. And yes, for Chris, I'm Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.